The amendment passed with 89% of the vote in Orange County. I'm sure that I know we'd let you know about that. And then there was one lawsuit since November 2020. There was one lawsuit filed, and it was filed by Chuck O'Neill as representing the wetlands and the creeks in Orlando that were going to be developed and filled in. And the last 2 weeks ago, the judge dismissed the case on the grounds that the state preemption overrode the amendment. Because while we were campaigning to get the amendment voted on, the legislature snuck a one paragraph into an 111-page bill, Senate Bill 712. And this one paragraph said that nobody and no county had the right to grant rights to any ecosystem or animal or plant or anything of the natural world. What 89% of the voters wanted. Chuck resigned as the chairman of the Florida Rights of Nature Network so he could focus all his attention on fighting that lawsuit. He said he's going to appeal it, but there's probably not much chance of that being overturned. There was a clause in the amendment for severability, and so a lot of us think that some of it should have been still be able to be ratified and used, but it took us to the state amendment. So we had to refocus after that preemption came in. We also worked in Titusville, the city of Titusville, where the Space Center is, has some really bad pollution problems. The city actually leaked 7.2 million gallons of raw sewage into the Indian River Lagoon. We lost 1,101 manatees died last year. I think the account is close to 500 now for this year, and there's so few of them left now in the lagoon. It wiped out, I think, like 12% of the population in the lagoon. It's catastrophic loss for the species, because that's kind of like a subspecies over there. But they got enough signatures. They did it by the initiative process in Titusville. And Thomas changed the amendment just a little bit to try to circumvent the preemption from affecting it. The wording was changed to where it's more focused on people's rights to those things. But it still says that the water has a right to flow and to not be polluted. And I think that's what they're keying on. And they did get enough signatures to put it on the ballot July 1st. And so it should be on the 22 ballot. But now the city commission voted last Tuesday to have their attorney for the city hire an outside attorney with taxpayer money to try to argue the point with a judge that it's unconstitutional because of the decision that was made in Orange County, that the preemption overrides that. And the final one is the state amendment. So to counteract the preemption, we decided that we weren't going to do the local amendments. So we're going with the state amendment. So we need 900,000 signatures on petitions by November 30th of 2023 to put it on the 24 ballot. It would grant us a fundamental right to clean water. It's been changed enough to counteract the Supreme Court review because after 223,000 signatures that we get, the Supreme Court will weigh in on it. And if they find one word in it that doesn't jive with their expectations, they can throw it out. So it was carefully written. Single subject rule is very defined in their logic. So we had to go for one thing. So we had to give up the rights of nature and rights of people, because that's two different items. So it really just it protects nature by giving people a right to sue to protect nature, or a right to nature instead of a rights of nature. But it's a first step. And if we can get this passed, I don't think we'll have any trouble getting the 60% votes of it. We had Republicans, Democrats, and independents all vote for it by the majority. And the problem is getting 900,000 signatures. And so right now we're doing it by grassroots efforts. And we've got our 6 regional directors, which I'm one for the East Central region. And then we've got ambassadors, and we've got actually a partners meeting tonight. We're trying to get other organizations like the Florida Springs Council just signed on as endorsing us. And we're working with a whole bunch of other groups, big groups. And if we can get them to send it out to their list of members in Florida, we could get 10,000, 20,000 signatures at a time for something like that. Apathy is probably our most difficult thing. People are like, well, what's the use? I can understand that when you see that what the state does to try to steal people's votes away. We had passed Amendment 1 years ago in 2014, which was to buy conservation land all over the state. And they took that money, but then the legislature got to control how it was spent. So they just took that money and they bought new vehicles, and they bought pens and desks and things like that. And they didn't buy hardly any land with that money. And it was, it was a lot of money. We could have preserved so much of Florida, we'd be so much better off now. We lost a lot of ground. And I see this as the last possible straw for saving any part of Florida at all. The springs, most of the springs are in deep decline, both amount of water that flows out of them and the nutrient load in them. And, they just keep issuing more permits. Now the state actually controls the wetlands permitting process. So that's a huge deal. So that, we just need people to get out there and sign this, and getting it out to enough people. That's a big thing right now, is reaching out, trying to get ambassadors that are going to promote this in their own little area. We just launched April 22nd on Earth Day for this campaign. With this amendment, it focuses on the executive branch. So what it does is it makes the governor, the cabinet, and the government agencies responsible for doing the right thing. And if they don't do the right thing, a judge can order them to do the right thing. It doesn't go after corporations. It doesn't go after individuals for polluting. But when it comes down to it, all of it's permitted. There really isn't any pollution that's not permitted. That would be against regulations already. So the problem is they don't enforce it, and they keep issuing permits. They've issued 33,000 or 23,000 permits in the last 50 years in Florida. So And every one of those is degraded water quality. So this will hold those agencies responsible for that, either for action that they do or for inaction. And then business and the polluters, the current polluters, will understand that they can't do it anymore. And it could fundamentally, it's a fundamental right that it gives to people, but it could fundamentally change the way everything is done in Florida to where it's sustainable.